What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, Go Black to Africa. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you all as you all come in. Today on this Saturday, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. I want to share with you all because I believe this is a moment in time right now that we see a lot of debate, fighting, arguing because people are trying to stretch themselves into a direction where they feel is the right direction when we have people out here who have motives, underhanded motives in guiding and leading people in the wrong direction. I call them sellouts, and even you do too. Now just think about this before you all click over because you don't think this apply to you. How many of us can agree that we always want to have people, good vibe, good energy in our life? How many of us really attest the fact that, this person's crazy, that person's out of their mind, they stupid, they're ignorant, they're dumb, these people are evil. How many of us all have said that? How many of us will realize that we want people in our lives to be the right person? But yet we sit back and object to when people say living a right life. What do I mean? You can say that's wrong, that's right, that's wrong, that's right. And yet when somebody says, well, we should all be collectively doing the right thing, many people object to that. But when somebody does you wrong, now all of a sudden you have a standard of what's right. When somebody takes advantage of you, somebody robs you, scams you, when somebody cheats on you, when somebody steals from you, when somebody kills your loved one, all of a sudden now the measurement of rightfulness comes in the picture. We all agree to that. But when it comes time for people to intentionally misguide people, it is amazing that we won't even consider them to be a sellout. Because we have put people on the pedestal. If you look at the thumbnail that I put, you're going to see there are people who are in the acting industry or Hollywood, those in the music industry, those who are in churches, those who was a president. These people exist all around the positions that we know, that we hold esteem in high positions as though they're the voice for the world, when these people are the ones that are leading people in the wrong direction. But it has been said that there shall come those who profess to be walking in the name of the Most High, these people who wants to give homage or respect to God or Jesus, or they use these names in order to draw people in like they are the picture of what right is. These are evil people. These are people who are misguiding you and others out here. But let's get into it. I want to show you probably Ghana, one of the biggest slave traders ever to exist, and was a sellout. And I'm going to explain to you these people today, how are they considered to be worse than when a person was selling an individual into slavery, physically. Why it's worse to sell somebody into slavery mentally or spiritually. Let's get into this real quick, family, because we don't realize how much of a slave we are spiritually and mentally. We don't realize that the messages that are put out there before us each and every day are there to grab us and keep us in bondage, to keep us to have alliance to a system, for us to stay in the system, for us not to leave the system, for us to follow the system. That these people are not telling you to get away from the system. These people are telling you to give respect and honor and faith into a system. They're the ones who's telling you the system can help you and save you. They're the ones who tell you you need the system. They're the ones who will tell you they depend on the system. They are the ones who are getting paid by the system. They're the ones who hold allegiance to the system. This system is a world system of whether you want to call it the government, whether you want to call it the institutions, the corporations, the businesses. These businesses and these entities that I just named are nothing more than traps for people to get stuck in. Now, I understand that we have to work and we have to eat, but it's something in the ancient writings that specifically says Be ye not conformed to it. Though we have to live within a system, we don't have to conform to it. See, conforming and living in is two total different things. You see, when we went through this whole COVID mess here in the last couple of years, you had two sides. Don't take it, the jab, or take the jab. And it's mighty funny. There were two sides of the coin. And on the two sides of the coin, there were those who were promoting the system, and there was those who were saying, don't be part of the system. And though everybody should have the right to pick and choose, we must understand the traps that are. Now we're going to get into this Ghanaian who was selling selling Africans to the Europeans. And it was all a device or a scheme of how these people replicate the same behaviors today as they have done back in the past. Now, yes, as hard as it's for a pill for me to swallow, to know that I sit here in Africa and that I share people that you should come to Africa and have a total different a total different experience than what you are part of. And to know that even Africans were selling people into the slavery. But hold up before those out there is going to say, see, I wouldn't go to Africa, this and that. But the people that you see on the thumbnail that I have put have sold you all into a mindset, a spiritual mindset, into slavery. These are more dangerous than a person who's going to sell you into the hands of the Europeans than sell you into the hands of a spiritual, demonic realm. You see, when one is in physical bondage, it's totally different than mental bondage, because a mental bondage, when you're stuck in, it could take you your life to come out of it. See, when you in physical bondage, you have choices. See, you can rise up, you can fight, you can go ahead and object, and you can even give your life for it. But when you are in a spiritual bondage, sometimes you don't even know it, and you will defend it. You will defend it to the end until something or someone or the Most High comes involved and decides to open your eyes so that you can see you are in bondage. So let me share this screen right here, and let's just talk about this one individual. I'm going to share several people here this week of those who were selling Africans into slavery, that we have to realize even to this day, there are people sold into the physical slavery, but more those who are selling people in a spiritual slavery, the ideology, whether it was the Barack Obama selling the goods of, hey, gays can get married, that the government system was perfect and good. Whether you want to talk about the music industry that sells this garbage into the minds of the youth, that has them to believe that they can behave and operate in certain fashions, whether the movie industries, Hollywood, will sell stories that aren't true, or have you believing that these lifestyles or these ways of doing things or pushing agendas is how the world has accepted, and you've become live within these fashion, and it's okay. These are people who have nothing more to make nothing but money and gain off of you. Whether it's TD Jakes, Creflo Dollar, the church today is a scam. I wouldn't step foot in the church with a 10-foot pole. To see, even in Africa, it is double the times worse in Christian churches in Africa that has a demonic spirit worse than I've ever seen, causing behaviors of people falling over and stealing and raping women and having women laid out butt naked in the church, having men doing foul things to themselves and their families, subjecting children. The African Christianity is straight from the pits of hell, and I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And any of you all who are African talking about you Christian, you better run, because you ain't seen nothing yet. America has experienced only to the degree what we see today because there are laws in place that they can't cross the line, where in Africa is not many laws that are in place that can come knock on your door and shut you down. Because Africa is ignorant when it comes to religion. They think it's free to have a religion, that you can just do whatever you want to do, whether it's in Jamaica doing the same crap. You know, for black folks who do some of the silliest things, we can follow daggone devils. This is ridiculous how we can just follow people and what they say because we so wholeheartedly want to have man over us. But let's get into it. One of many who were sellouts, selling people into slavery. And we don't even realize that they are around us today. So let me share my screen right here. Let's get into this one guy from Ghana. I'm going to hit on Ghana. Y'all might not like it, but y'all got to realize this right here. If you stuck into your country because you think you Ghanaian, you done missed the boat. If you want to get defensive because this guy came from the region, it might be part of, your family, my family, and you take offense, well, something's wrong with you. Because I want to let y'all know this right here. You have to understand what I'm about to share with you all. The trickery of the enemy is always to educate you. You see, this guy here, his father was a slave trader. And he sent both of his sons, one son to France and the other one he sent over to Britain. But let's get into it. Let's get into this. Don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's get into, let me get a better photo if I got one up here. I always go through so much research. Anyway, we're going to see my brother. I didn't change it up. I'm going to give you a better. Here we go. Let me go to, hold on a second. Y'all stay with me. I want a better picture. Here we go. Okay. This is one that's in color. Okay. So we have this Ghanaian, William Ansah Sassaraku. All right. Let's read about this joker right here. From 1736 to 1770 was his lifespan. A prominent 18th century Fonte slave trader, best known for his wrongful enslavements in the West Indies and diplomatic missions to England. He was both prominent among the Fonte people and influential among Europeans concerned with the transatlantic slave trade. After his father, John Corrente, sent Ansah, brother to France, he sent Ansah to England to gain an education. Curry favored with the British, and served as his eyes and ears in Europe. Let's say he was favored in British and served as the eyes and ears in Europe. The ship captain entrusted with Ansah's transport, however, instead sold him into slavery in Barbados before reaching England. So let me get y'all straight on that right there. This joker's dad had sent him to England. This is so, and this guy here, dad owned an Royal African slave trade business in the Gold Coast. And this guy, he was on his way to Britain when the captain of the boat, of course, this white European, when they got to Barbados to drop off some of the slaves, the captain himself saw that it was an advantage for him to even sell him to make more money and sold his ass into slavery. Now, listen to this. Years later, we're going to get further into the story right here. Years later, a free Fonte trader discovered Ansah in Barbados and quickly alerted John Corrente of his son's fate. This was his dad's name, John Corrente. Corrente petitioned the British to free Ansah, and the British Royal African Company emancipated Ansah and transported him to England. In England on 1748, which means that he was like 12, Ansah was received as a prince and gained the respect of London's high society. Most notable, he watched a live performance of Orinoco and much to the audience surprise, he fled the theater in tears. The play depicted a wrongful enslaved African prince who likely reminded Ansar much of himself. Upon returning to Anamobo, Ansar took up work as a writer at Cape Coast Castle, the primary British fortification on the Gold Coast. After leaving Cape Coast on bad terms, Ansar worked as a slave trader. The details of his death are unknown. He was born in Anamabo, modern-day Anamabo, Ghana, 1736. Anamabo was the then largest slave trading port of the Gold Coast. His father, John Corrente, was the head of the Anamabo government and chief courtier, one of the local officials responsible for supplying African slaves to the European traders, and an important ally for anyone living or trading in the city. Accordingly, Ansar and his family were of interest to the many European polities competing to access to abundant trade from Anamabo. Since his father was the head of the local government, an influential man, Anamabo represented a major interest for European traders, including the Dutch, Portuguese, Swedish, Danish, English, and French on the West African coast. In fact, Anamabo was the largest slave trading port on the Gold Coast of Africa. By Ansar's birth, however, the primary competitors for trade with the people of Anamabo were the French and English. While other commodities were traded in Anamabo, the primary trade was in slaves. Still, the Fonte people of Anamabo rarely sold each other into slavery. The vast majority of slaves sold in Anamabo were acquired by the Fonte people from the African interior. Now, let me move over here to this page here, because, sometimes you can't trust a lot of resources out here or sources. You got to go through and dig and find and all that right there. And here's one that is that talks even a little bit about who he is, but it also brings up this brother from Senegambia. The first portrait, which you see on your left, is his name is Job bin Solomon, also known as Ayuba Suleiman Diallo. He was Muslim, literate in Arabic, and a slave owner. He was Fulbe or Fulani, and born in Bundu in the Futa Halon in the Senegambia region. On a trade mission, hundreds of miles from his homeland to sell two enslaved people to the British, he was captured, sold to an English captain, and shipped from the Gambia River to Annapolis, Maryland, where he worked on tobacco farms for about a year. After he went to England and ultimately found employment with the Royal African Company in Gambia, where he died in 1773 at about 72 years old. The second portrait, who we were talking about, is of William Ansar Sassara Cole. Was Fonte and born in Anabo in the Voltec region. His father, John Corrente, was the head of the Anabo government. He was enslaved and taken into Barbados. And we've already read about that story with him. Now, let me get back to you all, because I want to do this, because this is about us really opening our eyes up to not just what the movie, The Woman King, was sharing about Africans who were selling other Africans. There's no doubt about that. That definitely happened. But what happened also was there were the ignorance of people who were selling so-called prisoners of war, people who committed crimes, or having wars against other African tribes to bring them in to trade. Why? Because the Europeans came with something that they had never traded. Africans never traded with any other cultures of people or races of people or ethnicities of people before. And that was the gun and gunpowder. You can make bombs out of gunpowder. You can make fire out of gunpowder. You can use it as a gun or weaponry. You can put it in as a cannon. You can do a lot of things with gunpowder. So it was something where the British made a deal with Africans to say, if you can supply us with these people who you have on your hands as prisoners of war, those commit crimes and those who owe debt, then, we can supply you with all of these different things that maybe you like. Alcohol, different types of clothing or jewelry or mirrors or, all these different trinkets that Europe had. And of course, the Africans, as silly as they were, they, of course, got the people to sell them over. But here's the sad part, because here's the sellouts. The sellouts are the ones that you need to understand why I told you all in my travels in Africa, some of the worst Africans I've ever met came out of Europe. I'm going to say that again. In America, some of the worst Africans that I've ever met was those educated sellouts who went to Europe to get an education and comes back and looks down on the people. These are some of the most nastiest and dangerous ones. These are the people who are the eyes and ears. Now listen to this right here. I didn't even get into the part. Really, well, I did read when it said that William Ansah Sassara, he was the eyes and the ears in Europe. He was the eyes and the ears in Europe because, most of y'all presidents in Africa goes to Europe for education. What's the education for? I told you all, when you think you are voting for your president, these people have been in Europe for years as children, being indoctrinated, got the good life, and then send them back over into their countries, sit still for about 15, 20 years, and decide to go ahead and run office. They try to run for office, but it is that not all, but some of them are the eyes and ears for Europe. And these are the people who are dangerous, because these are the people who sell out their own country for the sake of the money. They sell their people out. They sell their wealth out. They sell everything out. In America today, we have people who sell their own people out. They sell drugs to their own people. They sell prostitution to their own people. They sell their babies to the abortion clinics. They sell the ideas of hate and violence to their people. They sell the children pornography to their own people. These people are in their lyrics, they're destructive and they're toxic. In the movies, they depict being gay or being gangsters or being murderers and cheaters. These people are sellouts. These are some of the most dangerous people because they represent the system that don't have a care for anybody's spirituality, but these people only care about money. The one thing that I'm thankful for, that even though I have gone through the grind of getting myself in a financial status, I went through the grind getting myself in a spiritual status to where I never sold anybody out for the sake of money. I ain't here to try to scam and make money off of nobody. Y'all got to hold on to this. Because here, just like William Ansah, his dad was in the slave business. And many were, even in America, when you had slavery going on. Those people who were free, some of them to make money, if they got word that there were those Africans who escaped from the South and came north, these were some of the worst people who would turn them over to some of the inside connection spies who came from the South, was in the North, and was paying people, yo, find me some people who came from the South, and I'll go ahead and I'll compensate you for you. These are the snake people in the grass who will sit here and defend a system, but inwardly these people are wolves. If anybody is telling you, not saying, get the hell out the system, they are an enemy to you. Let me say that again. If people are trying to praise the system, the corporations, the companies, the governments, trying to get you to go vote and get into the Democrats and the Republicans and all, these people are setting you into the traps of being allegiance to a system that are against you. This is what these daggone Africans were in a connection with Europe. They would send their kids over to Europe to get educated. Then their kids get educated. These were the eyes and the ears that will come back into Africa, sell Africans. We just read that William Ansah, his father was in the government. We just read that. Let me go ahead and put it in because I know people just came in. See, they're telling you this right here. If you get a hold of this, this has never stopped, y'all. This has never stopped. Never has it stopped. You got to get a hold of this. There is nothing new underneath the sun. It's always the same, it's been the same, and it will always remain. But you who understand that if you can just read history and it will be able to tell you, look, let me enlarge this. Let me make sure that I got y'all on share. Okay, I got y'all on share. Now look at this right here. He was both prominent among the Fonte people and influential among Europeans concerned with the transatlantic slave trade. It says here that he had favor with the British and served as eyes and ears in Europe. It also goes further to say that his father, John Corrente, right? He was in the government. Let me go down here. His father was in the government right here. His father, John Corrente, was the head of the noble government and chief courtier, one of the local officials responsible for supplying African slaves to the European traders. You have to be able to understand. You just don't get in the government. These people, look, I'm going to tell you all this right here. These people, I can't say all of them because not everybody is bought in, but I'm going to tell you a lot of these people in the governments, these people, they hold dear to their positions because they are getting paid wealthfully. They are being treated and as respect highly and favored but ever been before. They will die not to go back to become a norm. These people are, when they are in office, they try to get as much money they can to get their land, build their castles, and so that they can live happily ever after. It's the same thing in America. The same thing in America is that you see these people who act like they want to represent you. I don't care if it's Farrakhan, if it's Jesse Jackson, if it's Al Sharpton, if it's Barack Obama, if it's an actor, these people have a connection with the system. Versus taking you out of the system into the bosom of the Most High in a place where we all agree, whether you believe or not, everybody agrees that they want to be treated right. They don't want nobody stealing, killing, and lying and cheating. No, nobody wants that to happen to them. So you make that measurement. My thing is then let's stand in that measurement of right then. Let's just stand in that measurement of right. No, we're not talking about no religion. Religion is a killer. I can't stand how this church folk today are. These people will kill you quicker than the niggas on the street. Somebody told me in Ghana they had heard me teach in a church, and they said, "Man, you ought to start you a church here." I said, "For what?" He said, "Because, man, I mean, you know what you saying, man. Most people ain't saying." I said, "Yeah." I said, too. Also, if I did start a church, I wouldn't ask for a penny from people. And then the person said, "Oh, they'll kill you." Them churches will come after you. And he's right. He's right. That's how evil these jokers are, because church ain't nothing but a business, a system to keep you trapped too. It was supposed to, the coming into the spiritual consciousness was supposed to set you free and not be bound. But the church, these churches and these daggone religious entities bring you back into slavery. That's because these people are sellouts, family. These people are sellouts. Okay, so my thing is that let me share with you, how can you discern if a person in your life is a sellout. Now, when I say sellout, I mean that people who are trying to um, um, prosper off of keeping you in where you are in the system. They don't want to see you get out. You know, when you say, I'm leaving out of this mess right. Oh, wow, you don't need to go. You got 25 years in this thing right here. You only got 10 more years to go. Look, who said, why you got to leave America? You don't need to leave America. Talking about you going to Africa and all that talk right there. You need to go instead. This is the best country in the world. When you hear people say, man, you don't need to get out the dope game, man, please, man, what you going to do? You ain't got no education. You can't do nothing, man. All you got is the streets. When you hear people say, girl, you better sell yourself, girl. That you make that money off here and get you an Instagram and get you that website, girl. You don't need, nah, I'm just tired of it. I need to get out of this. Ain't right, you know. Nah, you need to go ahead and see. There are people who will try to keep you in the system. When your spirit, see, this is the thing. This is the beautiful thing. All of us have the spirit. I don't care if you the worst killer, drug dealer out there. You know when the spirit talks to you, because that's the grace of the Most High. I will buy you time and I will talk to you. People think that this is not true. It is true. If it happened to me, it can happen to anybody else. But this is what they're not telling you. You see, you have that inherent voice. When that voice tells you, and you know it, you know. I talked to these guys the other day. I think I said in one of my other videos. Your body tells you, your spirit tells you when things are coming to an end. I was talking to these guys and I just ran into them today. Bless these brothers' hearts. You know, they just drink alcohol, smoke weed every day. And one of the brothers said to me the first time I met them was that, yeah, I probably got 2 more years left to live. I said, why do you say that? He said, because I drink and I smoke every day. Oh, so nobody told you. You said, so something is telling. See, he has an ear to hear to know the time of his death. All of us have that voice. You see, when your spirit starts to talk and it tells you, you got to let that go. This is killing you. Yo, you got to walk away from that woman, that man. They sucking the life out of you. It's killing you. You got to let this job go because it is stressing you out and it's killing you. You gotta remove yourself from this toxic family, maybe the people that are around you, your friends or whatever, because it's killing you. You see, the spirit always talks because there is no man without excuse. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's just that as long as you stay in a stupor, that voice becomes faint. It becomes very faint. See, when you continue to suck and drink and become inebriated, that the world wants you to stay in that system. Oh, weed is innocent. Now, I don't want to beat up on y'all smoke weed, but just listen to what it said, because y'all say this. I used to say this, though I wasn't a weed smoker, but it's an herb. It comes from the motherland. It's pure. And you know what? Let's play this right here. This is a treat for y'all, because this is the enemy that are sellouts. Because we can have the rhetoric. I love my wife, boy. She's looking out for me. You know, this is the rhetoric. I wanted to play y'all I had the conversation with these guys. Now I had to be slick now, you know, I had to record without them because, you know, they were saying some things that I like, this is a teaching moment for people to hear the ignorance of how you could be under influence and have you trick that your spirit, the God is talking to you, telling you. I'll never forget. I had that same spirit. I had that voice too to me, but I'll never forget my brother. Love my brother. And, you know, my brother was on them drugs, you know, and he shares his testimony with people. He was on the crack. He was on that stuff right there. And I'll never forget, he told me, he said, man, I saw God, man. I saw Yeshua. I said, okay, all right. Let me hear what he got to say. Let me hear what he got. Because my question was, what did it look like? So he said, no, man, I was in my living room And I'm sitting there in my living room. I said, was you high? Or was you? He said, no. He said, when I get up in the morning, I go to work. I don't touch the stuff. I don't until I'm finished, and I do my business. He was one of those functional crackheads. And so he said he was sitting in his living room and was sitting in his living room, and he said, this bright light hit his room. Bam. And he said it was this figure, but it was just bright light. And he said it called him by his name. And he said, I am done with you. This is it. I shall turn away from you. You've had your time, and your time is up dealing with those drugs. My brother said he ain't touched that since then. He does smoke his weed and stuff like that, but even then, it scared him enough to know that stuff that he was hitting on was at his limit. But he went through a journey and still had some failures of the heart, 2 of them. That your past catches up with you. Thankfully, he back to back. 1 year, boom, had a heart attack. The next year, heart attack. But even then, let me share with y'all, because see, this world is trying to keep us in the traps. And these guys here who sits here and trying to tell me about their truth are too blind to see. They're just killing themselves because the world done told them something that they hold on to that they're not even letting go. Let's see if I got this right here. It is on this phone here or my other phone. But listen to this, because sellouts will try to trap you and give you garbage. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Listen to this right here. How long is this? Okay, it's 7 minutes. Let's see how we go with this. Honey. Here's mine.
I'm not too far with my coffin.
You said what?
I'm not too far with my coffin.
You're not too far with your coffin.
His coffin.
Why do you say that, brother? You hold up. You say you are how old again?
44.
And you say you got 2 days to live. Because you drink too much.
Yeah. Every day we drink. Every day we smoke hashish or marijuana.
Marijuana. Y'all smoke every day. You drink every day. Because y'all do look a little older.
They look old.
I guess the alcohol makes you look older. Alcohol and hashish make you look older, right? Gray beards.
We smoke every day.
Do you work?
This morning, tonight.
From the
When I work in the morning, I start smoking, drinking until at night. Every day.
Why do you work too?
I don't work. I get a salary every month with the government.
You get a salary from the government?
Yeah.
The government gives you salary?
Yeah, every month.
Why you get salary?
Because every my joints in my body no good.
Oh, your body, you're sick, you're disabled.
Someone hit me down there. Someone hit me down there.
Huh?
No. Every my joint.
You used to work for the government.
You gotta hold on for a second.
I couldn't hear you.
I have a certificate from the doctor.
He has a certificate from the doctor.
Not allowed to walk. The doctor who signed the paper.
And then you get money every month.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you until it's death.
5,750 rupees a week. 5,750.
5,750 rupees every month you get.
Yeah. And he drink 5,000 in that.
He drink it all up.
Only 5,000 in the whole money he did. He drink 5,000.
You drink your money away.
No, you tell me. You tell me. I don't know if it's true. You have a chance to defend yourself. Y'all live over here. Y'all live here. Do y'all live? You live here.
So
I live.
let me try to afford this a little bit.
Are you a fisherman? A dream. I'm waiting for them. They are making packing. Does women drink a lot? More than me. Women drink more than you. Yeah. Ah, really? Really? Women drink more than men. You know what? They smoke heroin. Water. They smoke heroin. They inject heroin. Oh, this is a problem here. Big problem. It's a big problem. Wow. Heroin. Drinking. Smoking. Hashish. Hashish. They don't need hashish. They want heroin. They want heroin. And cocaine. This is the problem in Seychelles. Right now. For real. I just believe in this kind of drug. You don't believe in the drugs? No, hashish, drugs, marijuana, hashish. That. Is marijuana a drug? No. Marijuana's a drug. No, it's not. It's not a drug. No. It's not going to make it's not going to make damage with your mind or your body. You never get sick. No. But you told me you died in 2 days. You said you died in 2 days, and you said you 40. Will kill me. But alcohol gonna kill you. It's not, no. So alcohol's drugs. It's not going to damage your body. But you said 2 days you're gonna die. You said you drink too much, and you say you die in 2 days. I will. So is alcohol a drug? No. It's alcohol. So you know what drug is?
So here it is that they say alcohol is not a drug. Marijuana is not a drug. But in the mindset, the guy, he said 2 days instead of 2 years. I think I said 2 years, but that he was going to die in two days. But here's the thing, family, that this whole ideology of that, they don't say that alcohol is a drug. They don't say marijuana is a drug because, you know, those things are legalized now. So we can go ahead and sell it and give to people to be able to use the things so that the system can make the money. These are the traps. You see, no different than this African slave trader. Can you imagine the games and mind games they were playing? These people out here are acting like they're your friend and bringing you into a freedom, or come on over to my place and then put you in shackles, you know, put you in to sell you for some goods. That these people who wants to keep you from becoming free will continue to press upon you that where you are is good. We have to watch people who are out here promoting and pushing this garbage. We got to start calling them out. Every brother ain't a brother because of his skin color. No, there are some devils out here. And if we don't start calling out what is right and what is wrong, many people are going to get sucked in. Many people are going to get caught into the traps because they are forcing and pushing to blur the lines of what is right and wrong. They want that gray area to be so broad that the net cast and catch all. This is where we need to wake up. This is why we struggle, y'all. When you get further away from the truth, what's right, don't we suffer worse? I've been to many countries. Why is it that Black folks are the ones who suffer the worst? Even in Africa, it seems like the darker you get, the worse off you are. It just seems that way. You go down to South America, you know, the blacker you are, the more you suffer. You go to, I don't care if you go over here to the Arab countries, you go to European countries, you go to America, you go to Canada, you come to Africa, wherever there is Black folks, seems like you suffer more. Why? It's because of the fact that, family, we got to wake up and start to stand upright, not bend over wrong. See, bending over is a shuck, jive, sneak, deceiving person who's always trying to get over or get by. These are the people. Are you tired of making other people rise above and become your ruler? Aren't you tired of taking your hard-earned money, bringing people's wealth? Aren't you tired of voting people in, thinking they're going to be your savior, and you just put them in a position to anchor them in to become wealthier or have much more power, and they don't do nothing for you? Aren't you ready to stand on right? These sellouts are destroying a people. We usher them in. We applaud them. We give standing ovations. We act as though that these people are stars. This is the lie that they told you. Who told you these people were stars? These people are from the pit of hell. But yet we look up to them. We have conversations about them. We argue about what's going on in their lives. Oh, no, did he this and that? No, he ain't, blah, blah, blah. We argue over people who don't even know your first name. They don't even know you exist. You will go buy money. You will spend money to go buy their clothes, buy their music, go watch their movies and stuff. And they continue to promote the system that keeps you in bondage. Aren't you sick and tired of always being the one that always goes through the issues? Why? Because you mimic and act as though they do. You want to look like them, talk like them, dress like them. This is why companies know to get into the music and the media and the movie industry, because they know suckers out here that wants to act and behave and dress and be the part of those that they see and worship on TV. How is it that you call yourself living a free life, but you are in bondage, following and mimicking people and living the life after them? You have yet to be born. When people are telling you to come out, come out, come out, and you got those that are telling you stay in, stay in, stay in, and you decide to go with the ones who don't care nothing about you. That's why I cannot ask for money from nobody. I don't do Patreons. I don't do none of that. Now, I know people who's been, hey, I'd love to donate some money to you. Can you? And I put it in the description only because of the fact that there are people who say they're being moved and they want to give and they want to give to, I don't have a cause except for trying to wake people up. That is it. I'm probably one of the few people who say, I don't need no more money. I shot myself in the foot when I used to have people do super chats. And I sit here and say, thank you for your heart of giving if that's what you want to do. But I don't need no more money. But I get it. There are people who are moved and they feel like, hey, let me give this brother something because he woke my eyes up. And if anything, I don't like to ask for the money because YouTube gets 30% of it. So I have no agenda in what I say. I'm not trying to win people over, and I dang sure don't want nobody to follow me. The only thing I want you to come to awaken me is there is a true living most high out here, Yeshua, that can bring you into standing upright and stop following these ignorant fools out here that leads everybody else to that road of damnation, that we are just being sold as slaves. They selling you into the music industry, sold you into the movie industry, selling you into the clothing industry, selling you into the prostitution, selling you into the abortion clinics, selling you into all of these things that you are a slave to, and yet not even living your right life. Selling you into the church. How long are we going to be slaves to these people? How long are we going to be slaves to a system? When are we going to stand up and wake up and realize that following this world does nothing to make your life better? Well, you're just hitting on America. You just hate the Europeans and the Western. No, it's not that. I hate the world. This world, I don't care if I was in Asia, Africa. Africa ain't no different. But there's a lot difference. But you still got some heathens and some devils that would probably sell me into slavery as quick as you blink for $1. So Africa ain't no different. Don't make it seem like, don't get it twisted. Let me break this down what go back to Africa means. It's already known that the first human being, the original of humanity, was a black man. Go black. Go to the base of life. Then going back to Africa. Africa is the Garden of Eden. It is the beginning, the root to the base of life. Man, woman, and child. Go back to that. The beginning of that. Get out of this mindset of the Western world of thinking that things got to be this certain way because they say so. Let's get back to the base of life. Man, woman, child. That's the base of life. To top it all off, encapsulated in that is there is a spiritual dimension beyond ourselves that is around in us that exist. So we have to get to a place to ignore these ignorant people who are just sucking us in, just trying to make money, just trying to get a following. I don't ask people to put thumbs up. I don't ask people to share and like. There are some messages I wish people would share that I've said a couple of times. Get this message out because it's going to save people. Or bring awareness, not save them, but it's going to bring an awareness. But I ain't trying to. Look, I can hang up. I can shut this video, this channel down today and just go out here on this beach and drink on my little juices and call it a day. But because I'm being moved by the Most High to wake up the people, to bring them out of a system that has them enslaved and bring them into the Most High's kingdom is what my mission really is. I don't need no following. I don't need no money. I don't need nobody to look up to me. I don't need the praise. Not at all. But these people out here, see, they want your vote. See, they need you to vote who's the best and greatest actor, who is the best rapper, who is the Democrats or the Republicans. All of these entities who needs you to have membership fees, they need for you to be part of that because they need to survive. And without you, they're nothing. They're nothing. If we don't wake up, then we get caught into the mix. I know that, people, when people get scared when you start talking about righteousness, oh God, here you go. No, it's not even about that. Look, if you know anything about anything, there is not one man perfect, even if he was chosen. There was not one man chosen to be that was perfect in any things of this world when it came to being picked or selected from the Most High. But it's about standing up for what's right. Everybody claim they stand up for what's right, but following these masses, following these jokers out here. And you know what's so interesting? When you listen to these guys, these women out here, look how the pervert. Did y'all see that the video? No voting, no vucking. Did you see that mess? Do you see how they look at you as an African American to that they are pushing this out for you? No voting, no vucking. That this is how they look at you. I can see why African Americans ain't respected in America. I really see that. Thank goodness I'm out of that mess. I don't even want to be part of the Black culture in America. Hell to the no. There's no way, don't even put me in that same breath. Because the way they have done and depicted everything and trying to put you in the group of that, you ain't never going to get where you need to be. Not at all. Not at all. See, I'd rather come to a ripe place of Africa to where at least I can shake, rattle, and roll and do. Look, because Africans are so ignorant what's going on, and that ignorant means that they just don't know. That's not a derogatory word, but 99% of the Africans in Africa are ignorant to the facts of what's going on in the world. They only have just bits of information that they are trying to emulate and act and be and feel like that they see on TV or hear in the music. But it hasn't caught on into the depths of their soul. But they only mimicking. You see, I can easily come here and get a following if I want to. I can get a mega church easily. When you say America and put American on it and you stamp it, I guarantee you gonna make money. They think everything is they worship America. African-American restaurant, American grocery store, American barbershop, you put anything on it, you're going to make money. They want to be part of it. Why? This guy, this gal comes from America. Oh, they are something. You see, I didn't come to be worshiped. That's why I ain't trying to put the stamp on American nothing. But the thing about Africa being so ripe is the fact that, you see, you can educate people because they're sheer ignorant. They have the ignorance of not knowing what's really going on in the world. I can guarantee you 90-something% of them don't even know there's 54 countries in their own continent because everything's only at a local base, which is my desire to help and educate people spiritually as well as globally, mentally and physically. Because we got too many of these wolves out here that are selling our people into slavery mentally. Because while they're getting you to come along and rock your vote, which back in my day, now it's voting and no vucking. What? The ignorant. And then the music that is just, you see, when you live your life just for yourself and don't have the thought of your children's children, that means you're only living your life for yourself. You're just ignorant. Because here it is that you now stand by and will allow to be in a system that will take over your own children. That means you don't even care for your own children. You don't care for your own children because we don't have the outlook, the in-look on what is really going on and how that when we take our last breath, do we leave our children with the spiritual components to be able to survive in this crazy world that's squeezing everybody to become one in like mind and spirit to worship a man? That's where it's going. During this whole COVID thing, look, a large majority of people, 75%, let's look that up right now. How many people just in America took the jab? How many people vaccinated? How many people in America? Let's see. It says here, it says here, %, at least one, 48%. Hold up, come on screen. Okay, give me the full total amount. They breaking this down by kids and all. %79.5%. Now, I'm not saying that your choice is your choice, but the point I'm making, 79% of the people chose to listen what the system said. Now, I'm not saying that, you're wrong and right. It's your life. You got to do what you got to do. What I'm saying is, what is happening is that as these things begin to unfold, when it comes to trying to bring people into a direction of control more, you can always have these indicators to see where they stood when these situations like what happened year before last, and how many people were on board. Because if you can sell something to somebody and get a large majority, you can turn around and sell it again to the same people. Yeah. But what we need to do, family, is these messages every day. I want y'all to do this right here. All right. This is going to be very easy for you. Starting right now. Once you out of here and stop listening to me, I want you to really become the watcher. Now, the watcher is one who listens. It's an art that very few people have. Most run off with this and not this. The old saying is, why do you got two ears and one mouth? Is to hear. Why you have two ears and one mouth is to hear twice as much as you speak. But become the watcher, meaning I don't have to say anything. I'm just going to watch and listen. I'm not going to judge it. I'm just going to watch and listen. I don't need to judge it right now. All I'm going to do is watch and listen. And then let it speak to me instead of me judging it. How do you do that? When we listen to things and we are watching things, I tell people right here, I had to do this for my first 5 years. I became a watcher. I'm talking about how I do all this talking now. I had to sit still in moments of time to watch not only people around me. I watched nature. I listened to the birds. I was watching and listening, watching and listening. I used to people watch, just go downtown, sit still, and just observe people. I would go, because being in a sober mind, I would go, even if you have friends, do not drink one time or smoke weed with your friends and just hang out and become the watcher. That's an eye opener. Try doing, especially when you drink, because I was a big drinker. Try being sober for one day. And when I say sober, I'm talking to those also who don't indulge. And that sober mindset is the fact that having a purified mind, meaning that don't judge, but also don't have anything in you too, whether it's alcohol, whether it's marijuana, whatever. Go out one time to a club that you frequent, to a venue that you frequent, to doing something with groups of people, or even yourself. Try it for once. Watch a football game without having your beer. Go to an outing without having anything. And I'm telling you all, it will wake you up even that much more. You're going to see yourself sitting right there amongst your friends, and you're going to say, wow, is this how I act, how I perceive things? I never saw it like this before. What about when you're with your loved ones? Be quiet and just let them, for one moment, for one day, just let them do all the talking and be a sober. Because if you can be of sober mind and just listen. And they're going to ask you, why are you so quiet today? I'm just, just chilling, everything all right? Yeah. Believe me, I've been through that. People have, because I'm a talker, What's wrong with you, man? Nothing. I'm just chilling. Because everybody will show you who they are. People will tell you who they are if you give them a chance to continue to talk. See, I talk so much, I tell everybody who I am. But many people there don't listen, that they're so eager to get out what they got to say, they're not listening what they're saying. But try to go one day saying little as possible, and allow everybody to say what they want to say. Call your children on the phone. How you doing? All right. And just become quiet and just listen to them. Your loved ones, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, just let them talk. Because now you're going to be able to hear that even those things that you never knew before could be triggers or could be things that is drawing you to where you are. You might even find out why you do what you do. You might find out why you're so annoyed, why you're so impatient. You might find out that you probably sicker than what you thought you were, or around sick people. You will see that because I say this right here because this was given to me in the spirit. Your selection is your reflection. What you select, who you hang around, what you buy is all a reflection of you. And why is it a reflection of you? Because it's what stems inside of you. When you want to be drawn to, whether it's material things or whether it's to type of women or men, or whether it's to venues or parties or ball games or whatever, you are going to find when you become the watcher how you were able to select those type of things and why. Because after you become observant and you become the watcher, what happens then is you will channel down into places, whether back into your roots of your youth or back in the days, and you're going to find those stemming factors of why you do what you do today. By the selections is your reflection, and it typically will stem from what happened to you years ago. But put on your seatbelt, because I'm telling you, you about to go on a ride. You about to go on a ride. And it may not be fun, but at the end of it all, when you get to the root of causes of why you are stuck in bondage by the very things that the world have been holding you into, you're going to be ready to be set free. And this is the whole meaning of being reborn. Because now you want to come out of it. You want to get away from them. You don't want to be part of that area, that venue. You don't want to be, because you know it trapped you. And you was nothing more than a slave to that thing that you knew in that inner ear, had that spirit been speaking to you. And you know it. You know it. We know the truth. But what do? We ignore it. We suppress it. We cover it up. We do all of that and hide, and we run, and we put on the smiley face and mimic the very happiness that we know we wish we had, but we don't, and walk in a span of time miserable, and nobody knows. Used to be me. And nobody knows how miserable you are except for you. And you go along with the get-alongs, and you just continue on your life stuck in a rut, can't come out of, because you fear being free. You are so afraid of what they're going to say about you. You're so afraid that what am I going to do without that? You're going to think you're going to be bored. You're going to think, what am I supposed to do? But be of good cheer, because on the other side is waiting to show you all the creativity that is in you, that's been waiting to be rebirthed from the time that you were put in bondage, that now you're able to seize and capture the moment. This is what freedom is about. All the layers around you was all identifications and labels and titles. That's all it was. Anytime you label yourself as being something, I'm this, I'm that. Well, I'm doctor. I'm a football player. I'm this. I'm a player. I'm a hoe. I'm a B. I'm a this. All of these layers of identities. I'm alpha. I'm kappa. I'm all of these layers that has put a layer of confusion around you, and you believe you are something because everybody's wanting to be wanted or seen or be part of or to be noted or to have that light, to have that moment of glory. Everybody's wanting to be part of that. And many people like, forget it, I ain't gonna let it go. And you become the slave, and you will never reach your fullest potential. You will never be able to experience a life. Just you in this world with the Spirit guiding you in the places you should be, in the right circles of people who are on that same consciousness level in order for us to grow and prosper at a high level. Now, I didn't say anything about religion, because if it's a religion that you're looking for, I tell you this right here, you are in a world of trouble in the where religions are. Now, that's to each his own, though. To each his own. But even then, I remember when I was in the churches, and this was one of the reasons why I was moved to walk away from it. I became the watcher while I was in church, how I used to mimic and shout and praise and pray and became the same fashion as that pastor, that bishop, as the congregation. We all were mimicking. We were all putting on a show. We were all falling for the same lie. We were all dressing alike, talking alike, praying alike, worshiping alike. We were all being in that same foolish behaviors. We were. And when I became the watcher and I walked into the venue and just sat back and watched, I was able to see that evil spirit move and how people were mimicking even what the pastor does. You know, I laugh when I watch sometimes Pastor Geno Jennings, who, you know, he himself, you know, he will speak those things where man falls short and those things of sin and all right there. And it's good for that. But he doesn't even realize himself. He's doing the same thing of the people he ridicules. You watch his congregation and they jump and hallelujah. They do this. And you watch more and more people mimicking exactly what he does. And so they thinking they catching this Holy Ghost. They thinking they do. And not to talk bad about them, but what I'm saying is that when you observe yourself and watch what you do and you ask yourself, where the heck do you get that from? Where'd you get this saying from? How did you begin to dress like this? Why you begin to be trying to put on this fashion and put your shades on and your hat and your clothes and all this right here, trying to mimic and do what the rest of everybody else is doing? This is what we do. And it's so crafty and so sly and so subtle that it can catch us off guard, that we become a mirroring image of the world at our fingertips, that we don't even realize it. This is the trickery that we got to be on guard. We have to, because the slave masters that people want to sit here and talk about, African soul slave, why are you talking about Africa? These people around you who done sold you a bag of lies that you have become conformed to, transformed into, believe and think just like the rest, has overtaken you. I thought every man wanted to be free. I thought every man wanted to be him or herself in how he or she has bringing out the creativity. Not that the world told you you can bend your gender or tell you can go ahead and become some player, some thug, some drug dealer, some hoe, some bee, some twerking fool, some whatever. This is what the world wants us to go into. This is what the world wants you to believe. Yes. I was sitting here because I just played the video of the guys out here who were talking about their alcohol and their weed smoking. And then they said that the women here, they like the heroin. And I did a video of a guy here who smokes heroin and cocaine. And he does all that, but it's a big problem, they say, here in Seychelles. And so these guys here that I was talking to, that I just played the audio of talking to them, they are even blinded. They're running around that same thing about people, alcohol is really what's killing me. It's not the weed. I'll never forget when a young man asked me about What's so bad about marijuana? And I'm not going to be beating up on y'all who's just smoking y'all weed, but hear me out on this, because this was I come from the 60s, y'all. And that old lie that the Europeans told, oh, it's Mother Earth, it's a herb. Well, so is the poppy seed that coke come from, that opioids come from. It's a plant. Do you not know medicine, that 90% of the medicine is not in the laboratory made? They get it out of the nature. Yes, there are. I threw it. Hold on. Let me back up. Let me retract that, because I don't know the stats on that. I hate those stats. I can't say 90%, but you got to look up to see how many. Well, let's look it up since I've been looking everything else up. Let's just see, out of the medications, how much is synthetic? How much is natural? Let's see what percentage of medications are synthetic. Let's see here. Let's see. We're going to see here that let's see, this says it's not going to give me a percentage of how much synthetics is out there. I'll let one of y'all look those up there for me. Somebody find that out for me. But what I'm saying is this right here, that the slave master's mentality, it's not just people putting you in bondage with shackles like they were selling people for the trade so that they can benefit. It's even the people that are doing such things of regurgitating this information back into you so that you can have this rhetoric of saying the same things, of believing that the things that you do, you will justify because of what you heard somebody tell you. But the young man said to me, what's wrong with what's wrong with smoking weed? And I said, there is nothing better than a sober mind. You can't trump a sober mind. You cannot trump a sober mind. But I get it. So many people use it for whatever reason they use it for. And if one could be open and honest, say, yeah, I use it, man, just to chill out and chill. I use it. And my thing, if people say, well, it relaxes me, this and that. My thing is relax. Okay, I got this answer for relaxation. All right. You come home, you take your shoes off. All right. Go ahead and put your shorts and your shirt on. Go into bed, lay down, and just relax. But no, it ain't like that. Yeah, no, it is like that. How about meditating? How about practicing how to sit still and go without thought? Can you do that? Because that right there was one of my hardest challenges. Can you meditate without having any thought? And when you're the watcher of watching how much, man, your brain keeps bringing up ideas and thoughts and all this right here, you can really get to a place of settling your mind. This is very beneficial when it comes to you not responding to a lot of things when it comes and hits you. Because then you get to watch what's going on within you. Somebody say something and you can just watch your temperature rise. You can watch that burning goes up, that flare, that irritation, that anxiety. You will watch it. That is an opportunity for us now to break the mold, because now, hey, I see it. This person said or did that triggered something. Now, I can't say it's their fault. What I need to do is handle that issue. Why is it that? Because sometimes, unbeknownst to us, that's the very thing that drives us over to smoke the weed, shoot the heroin, drink the alcohol, going over to with that person you want to get in the sheets with, because I've said before, I had to learn through my own self. There was music I had to stay away from. It was triggers that kept me going back to some of them women. Yes. All these messages around us that we take in, we need to become the watcher. And the watcher is watching of self, not because I said outwardly and inwardly. We need to understand that as we begin to live this life, we should be watching what's going on in the inside. Come on now, you know how it is. You eat some food and the irritation, you're like, I can't eat those tomatoes because it's very acidic and it causes my stomach to mess up. You was a watcher. You was able to say, I did something different. So I was able to, that happened. That should happen every day when it comes to not just the stomach irritation, but it could be the irritations of your patience, the irritations of your bringing on anxieties, that you become the watcher to know what are those things that are destroying me, keeping me from advancing. Because when you watch that's what's then you're like, there it goes right there. I'm feeling upset now. They done said I'm yeah. Now I get to say, why am I upset? Why did that upset me? Why did that upset? See, some people, they're not there. They just go and shoot and kill somebody. They're not thinking about how have I become such a beast to where I used to be vocal and argue and yell. Then all of a sudden I started throwing things. Then I grew into stop throwing things. I started to hit the walls. Then I moved on from hitting the walls to now I started to put my hands on the woman or the man, or I started to point fingers and touch and all that right there. Now I got into shooting and killing. How did I grow into this beast? How did I go from, I used to be a driver in all the traffic and then driving to now I'm like, you mother, why the heck, you mother, this crazy. How did I grow into that? How did I grow into where I was just with the woman? Then I got into the porn. Then I got into the toys in the bedroom. Then I got into trying to bring other women in. Then I got into, how did I get all the way into this? What sold me into that slavery mentality? How did I got to get back to the root of what was it? Because we are sold to slavery every day. How is it that I see women in their 50s and 60s twerking? What got them to that point when that same woman just 10 years ago was dancing modest and conservative? How did I get transformed into this mindset, this mentality, this behaviors that's overtaken me? And I'm like crazy. Did y'all see the video that I just put up about the nurse? Did you see the meltdown that she had? And then she told the women to get your guns and go kill them where they are, those men. How do you get to a place now of charging people to want to go destroy? We got to go back to Africa. Go back to the original place of the original place of the beginning of all things, starting with the whole creation, from the creator to the first origin of man, which was us, and the man, woman, and child, and having nature, even as one of our school teachers, of seeing the production and the flourishness, the fruitfulness and the reproduction, and learning from how the do's and don'ts of life can teach me what consequences I get back when I put in. That wasn't good for me. I don't need to be around that. I just saw this person over here. What happened to them? They did that. I ain't trying to mess with that. I ain't trying to be around. When are we going to go ahead and equip ourselves to be back the powerful energy, the powerful source that has given us the ability to hear, to be able to see with the spiritual components of what's given, to be able to stop what's ahead of us in the traps and the obstacles that are ready to overtake us and ours. Because if you don't do it, you pass it on to your children. Children mimic the very thing that you are. You just like your mom. Look how you act. You just like your daddy. Look how you act. Our children pick up a lot of those habits and mindsets and mentalities that, do you really want your child to experience the things that you've experienced from all the distraught that it may have caused you? Some of y'all don't even look at it as a bad thing. Some of y'all think that y'all ain't, that everything's peachy keen. But you know the truth of the matter. We do. So me showing the picture and reading the story of this Ghanaian who was selling the slaves, selling the Africans over to Brits, this was the whole component, the mindset of what was going on today. Number one, greed will destroy you. When you got to have something, if you got to be with something, if you got to do something, you're going to find you're willing to sell yourself or anybody else out to get it. You'll cross the lines of what's right and wrong. You will even cross maybe some of your lines of morality, your what your truth is, or all these things. We have to understand that if we don't get to this place of if we don't get to this place and realize we sometimes are our own worst enemy, that though we were, let's say, tricked, though we were fooled, though we were basically enticed into these ways that we are today, we need to reckon that just like William Ansah, what he did was, it was greed because of his father. His father passed that same mentality over to him to sell Africans, to trade Africans. That even himself got sold into slavery. Did that stop him? No, because when he got his freedoms, his dad paid for his freedoms, that he went to Europe. Now, this right here is an eye opener for us to understand that they got their education. So much of us are educational fools. We think we have arrived at a place because we got our education. But what you really have become, as it said in the writings, those who wasn't in here, please go back and rewind. When I read about, these were the things that were the components of the makeup of the downfall on how we are even today. Ain't nothing changed. Education can make you an educated fool. It don't bring no morality. It don't bring the right and wrongs. Education is nothing but you going to a school to learn book stuff. It don't teach you about marriage and how to be successful or being an upright, standing man or woman. It don't teach you about the life struggles that you're going to come across, how you can overcome those things. It don't teach you a lot of things. It just teaches about books. But here, educated fools, what it does is teaches you how to get over, how to take advantage, how to become a good old slave to the master. That's the workplace, the institutions, the corporations, the organizations. How do you become the best slave that you can? And as long as you follow the policies of the organizations, institutes, and the corporations and the governments, as long as you follow that, you will be loved. You will be liked, and we will give you little to no problem. But we got to indoctrinate you like they did William. And then he became the eyes and the ears, that he would defend the very slave industry that he was putting his people into the slavery to his death. Now, the question I have to ask, are you a sellout? Because are you promoting the same system that are enslaving people, that are keeping people from freedom, That same governmental system trying to get people to vote for your party, trying to get people to be actively involved in this agenda or whatever agenda. Are you trying to bring and indoctrinate people into your sorority or your fraternity? Are you trying to get members of your church or people to come into your church so that they can be indoctrinated to make you look good, your church look bigger than what it is? You get the credit. You see, so many of us are recruiters for the system. So many of us are the ones who promote the very evilness that goes on, that we've become the slave master. We've become the recruiter, the trader, taking people into the system and selling them for your own selfish gain. So you can take the credit, you can get the pay. This is what it is. So with that, family, I hope that each and every one of you all will do self-assessments and even ask the question, how much am I bought into a system that I am promoting it to a fashion to where I am asking people to come in and get entrapped in it? When I subject my children to the music, what is it teaching my children, and how is it transforming their minds to believe the very words from these ignorant fools that has nothing to do with life, that they become just like them, which then my children will uproot and try to come up against me because I've given a place of foolishness out of order, that I've caused my own house to be out of order. Have I subjected my children to the foul movies that are out there to show them that whatever that movie is promoting, that it's okay to have or behave or talk or act like what that movie is projecting? Am I promoting these agendas, these places, these entities, these organizations by being part and by affiliations with them? You see, I get offers all the time from companies. They want me to push their products, and I refuse. I've turned down $1,000, $5,000 for one ad to run in my video. Turn them down. I am not selling out. And when I try to find the research in some of these companies, the thing I look at is, who do they support? I look them up. Nope. You are not using me. What the freak for? You want me to sell out, number one, myself, and then sell out a people by promoting your product that you yourself push money into these organizations that are contrary to what the Most High in me believe that is wrong for a people. I turn the money down every day. Every day I got people who want to try to push their agendas by trying to give me money on my platform. You have not seen me push anybody's commercials. It is sad that even when I try to help my own people, I've had one guy who scam people. It's sad. And now it's like, I'm not even willing to promote anybody's business or anything unless I check who they are. But the problem of that is that time has to reveal. So while I'm trying to go around and help people and help my brothers and sisters to make money in Africa and whatever they're doing, some of them are just as crooked as can be. So we have to understand that this world system we're in, family, we have to remove ourselves out of it. And it's hard for some people to move themselves out of this music, movies industry, these perverted places that's really just bought us into the whole ideal of it and supporting it. And they're making billions off of us. Billions. So we've become the promoter, the recruiter, and whether it's the clothes we wear, when we put their names and their emblems on our bodies as we walk around, just promoting them. When we want to go ahead and act as though that we got You know, we want to look rich, sound rich, talk rich, but got broke bank accounts. You know, we want to act as though that we have achieved all things, and yet we haven't achieved the wealth of spiritual, of anything. We haven't, we need to go ahead and look at tearing down the whole mindset of what we have, starting back to the base of things. With that, family, I thank each and every one of you all for coming in. I thank each and every one of you all for just listening to me. My thing is that consider and even try to test my spirit and what I say. Test it. All things need to be tested. And when I say tested, to see if it's sound. Because even I tell people, don't go off what I tell you. You need to test it. Don't go off just because I said it. Do your research. Don't go off what I'm just sitting here talking about. Do yourself a favor and find out if it's true or not. See, how many people are going to tell you that? How many people want to sell you this or that or that or this? Nah. So I thank each and every one of you all for your kind words that y'all speak in the atmosphere. I call it the bosom of the Most High, for the protection of my travels, for the healing of my sicknesses, for the betterment of my spirit, for the protection over my families. I appreciate you all. Thank you to those right there who I've said, I have not asked people for money, but there are people who feel as though they're being led to give financially. It blows my mind. They're just doing that out of heart or what have you. That is your sacrifice. Thank you. I don't need the money. But there are those also who does it. They want to, those who've been sending messages, and I couldn't stop to read your saying. Some people want to do it so I can read, but when I'm on a roll, I can't stop and read because I lose my thought. But also to those people out there who are sharing the message to try to bring people out of this crazy world mindset. Because just like the video I just did of that nurse, this is an indicator of how crazy things are getting. Can you imagine you being a man that she told the women, get your guns and kill them? That this same nurse, if your husband, your brother, your father was sitting in the hospital, in the emergency room, and she has to tend to them, what would she do because her hate for men? She's trying to bring people back into that system. When we see all this crazy stuff going on, family, we got to wake it up. So my thing is, though, just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I speak blessings on each and every one of you all for your day. Prosperity in your spirit. Prosperity in your family, in all you do. This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa. Let me hit my ectro. But I guess that ain't gonna come up. But I thank each and every one of y'all. Y'all have a beautiful day.